Hi, fellow travelers. My name is Martin Desmond. In this video, I'm going to be discussing unexpected as well as expected tipping points that may affect Yellowstone National Park in the future. This painting by Thomas Moran in 1872 helped to encourage the U.S. Congress to approve the creation of Yellowstone as the first national park, both here in the United States and the world. Yellowstone has over 10,000 thermal features that attracted 4.7 million visitors in 2024. We will be discussing tipping points of Yellowstone's supervolcano, wildfires, floods, thermal features, wildlife, political, and social events. Some tipping points, like climate change, have been understood for many years, but can be unexpected when a massive amount of snow and rainfall in June of 22 pounded the northern portion of the park and permanently closed the canyon road running from Gardner to Mammoth. National Park, America's first national park, is facing some serious and surprising tipping points. These aren't just gradual changes. They're thresholds where small shifts, whether from climate, ecology, or human impact, can trigger big, irreversible changes to the entire system. Let's break down the biggest threats that could transform Yellowstone as we know it. Yellowstone is getting warmer, over 2 degrees Fahrenheit hotter in just the last century, and it's accelerating. The tipping point? Losing the park's reliable snowpack and seeing spring melt arrive earlier than it used to. This change throws off stream flows, affects the iconic thermal features, stresses cold-loving species like the cutthroat trout, and even messes with the timing of wildlife migration. Climate model shows it's only going to get worse without major action. Underneath Yellowstone is a massive hydrothermal system, geysers, hot springs, and steam vents powered by underground plumbing. But this system can be disrupted. Earthquakes, groundwater shifts, even geothermal drilling outside the park could shake things up literally. Old Faithful, for example, could stop erupting altogether. We already saw a warning sign with the 2024 hydrothermal explosion at Biscuit Basin, a reminder of how fragile this system really is. We all know fire is a part of the natural cycle, but what happens when that cycle breaks? Yellowstone is starting to experience more frequent and extreme wildfires driven by rising temperatures and longer droughts. The 1988 wildfires burned over 35% of the park. If this trend continues, forests like lodgepole pine may not recover as easily. The result? A shift from forest to shrubland or grassland, changing everything from habitat to erosion patterns. Wolves, bison, and grizzlies aren't just wildlife, they're ecosystem engineers. Wolves, for example, help keep elk in check, which allows willows and aspen to grow, which then supports beavers and bird populations. Remove one, and the whole system can collapse. The danger is that these species remain vulnerable. Wolves are at risk from outside pressure out from the park. Grizzlies face political pressure from Montana and Wyoming to remove federal protections. Hydrologic disruption. Yellowstone's water system is finely tuned, but droughts, water diversions, and snowpack loss are throwing it off balance. Lakes shrink, geysers behave differently, fish struggle to survive. Yellowstone Lake's water level is especially sensitive, and any disruption affects everything downstream. Here's a human driven tipping point. Too many people. Over 4 million visitors a year. Yellowstone's roads, campgrounds, and trails are getting maxed out. This means more roadkill, more pollution, and more wildlife being pushed away from their natural spaces. When visitation outpaces management, it's not just the animals that suffer. Visitor experience goes downhill too. Perhaps the most subtle but dangerous tipping point are political decisions that undermine protections. The Trump administration is proposing to slash Park Service funding by over 40% for fiscal year 2026. The overall budget would drop from 3.2 billion to 1.8 billion. Thousands of park rangers would lose their jobs. Here's a wild thought. While Yellowstone was erupting in prehistoric fury, Homo erectus, one of our earliest ancestors, was already walking the earth. That's right, around 2 million years ago, just as the first Yellowstone eruption blew its top, Homo erectus was showing up in Africa. Pictured in the middle, they were using stone tools, mastering fire, and migrating across continents. So while ash was raining down in North America, early humans in Africa and Asia were figuring out how to cook dinner. In fact, Homo erectus survived for 1.9 million years before extinguishing approximately 100,000 years ago in Southeast Asia. Fast forward to now. Yellowstone's no longer erupting violently, but they're still very much alive. Beneath the park, magma still moves, geysers still roar, and hot springs still bubble. But the big tipping points today aren't just geologic, they're political, ecological, and climactic. Yellowstone is more than a park. It is a symbol of wilderness, of natural wonder, of what America values. Whether we tip towards resilience or chaos depends on whether we treat the park as a museum or as a living, changing, breathing ecosystem that needs care, not just admiration. So here we are, 2.1 million years after the first eruption, still watching Yellowstone, still learning from it. Homo erectus, while never living in North America, was likely impacted by the three supervolcanic explosions occurring 2.1 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, 640,000 years ago. Our Homo sapiens species has been existing for approximately 300,000 years, or only one half of the typical 700,000 year cycle between Yellowstone supervolcanic explosions. If I was a betting person, I doubt that Homo sapiens will be around for Yellowstone's next super eruption. In his book, Pale Blue Dot, Carl Sagan used the iconic image of Earth taken by Voyager 1 to reflect on humanity's place in the universe. He emphasized the Earth's fragility and insignificance when viewed from such a vast distance, highlighting the folly of human conceits and urging us to cherish and protect our shared home. The pale blue dot, taken from 3.7 billion years away, shows Earth as a tiny speck, a single pixel in the vastness of space. Sagan pointed out that this mote of dust, everyone we know and have ever known has lived and died. Sagan argued that this distant image demonstrates the absurdity of human conflicts and divisions when considering our collective existence on such a small scale.